we always paid attention to whatever the habits were inculcated in our lives, because that is how we build our character, that is how we build ourselves. Try to take actions and not think more about it, because once you know the actions, once you know the process, then the kind of results that you're expecting, they will be all around you, whether be it good or bad. You just always learn from them. So make sure that you are clear about it. If a
Hmm.
woman is earning, if a woman is going on a job, or like whatever they are trying to do into their lives, it's
Yeah.
all about her choice, and
Yeah.
her choice isn't restricted by a family or the society or whoever around her. It's
Hmm.
all about her. If she's able to give utmost contribution to the family, the professional life of her, and everything that she is willing to upskill in her life, it's
Yeah.
all her decision. So you just don't have to mend into her own ways.
Hi, Rohit, and welcome to the About Her Show, a show where we largely get trailblazing women to share the story of their lives with us. But then, along with such women, we also get men on the show, men who champion such trailblazing women because we believe that for a truly gender inclusive world, both men and women need to be allies in this journey. None of us can do it alone. We have to coexist. So it is better to respect each other and realize and appreciate the importance of each other. So, you being one of those men, I mean, I've seen your podcast, I've seen the kind of work that you've done, you're doing. I feel you're just the right person for this podcast. So, a very, very warm welcome to you.
Thank you so much, Sangeeta. It is such a pleasure to be here and good to be on the other side of the podcast that I don't get often, but I always love this.
Yes, it is always a good experience. I can vouch for that.
Yep.
So then, without further ado, let's get started. And a simple, basic question, which is like an icebreaker. So, if you could provide us with some insights into your childhood, early years, and how you think those experiences shaped your life, character, and the kind of person that you become today.
Well, to be honest, I'm going to get kind of a nostalgic today, because revisiting the old days, talking about those memories is always a fond experience, I say. And when I started growing up, my childhood was quite good, like, because I was a kind of a person who was always into, like, I wanted things, I always demanded them. So you can say I was a kind of a demanding person. And then that shaped my personality as well, because when we started, like, we got separated, like the families. Earlier it was a joint family, then my father got separated. The economic conditions weren't that great, and once we moved into our new house, like when I was born, at that period of time,
Mm.
that really shaped, like, things started changing out there. Like, that was the pivotal moment in our lives, in my parents life.
Mm.
And that is something that gave us the kind of a boost. Like, now we have to lead a very different life, which is good, which is sustainable, which was within our demands, which was within our needs. So that was something that the kind of environment I had. I do have an elder brother. His upbringing was quite different than mine. So there is a stark differences of, like, his needs, his demands, and mine.
Yeah.
So that is something that shaped my personality. And being into that particular nuclear family, you don't have a lot of like, resources. It was just my mother raising me. My father was working at that particular time, so my mother was a homemaker. And then he was always contributing to the good things, like he was bringing in home money. My mother was taking care of us, like, was giving good education, because none of them, like, both of them never had a kind of a education background.
Mm.
So you now feel that what difference can education make.
Yeah.
So that is something that we have to understand. And those moments, those times really shape the character, because then uh, I got empathetic as well, resilient as well, because then you know, like, what were your circumstances, how you have to be demanding. Even I was demanding, but I needed, like, I knew my restrictions as well, I knew my boundaries as well. So that is something really shaped my way of, like, looking at life. And I was a jolly person as well, so I didn't used to figure it out, like, कि क्या क्या सारी चीज़ों को हमने कंसिडर करना पड़ता है once we are growing up. So
Mm.
I thought, like, my needs are meeting, and that is a totally fine thing. I'm living my best life. But then once you go into school, once you know people around you, what kind of life they are living, how you are living, what is something that you can do to improve yourself as well. So those experiences really shaped my character in terms of becoming a better person. I am today. I'm still improving. I'm still learning today, and that quest still goes on. So you know, like from where you started, where you are, and where you want to go. These days it's like we don't have to pay a lot of attention in planning your life, because you never know like what kind of life you're going to have. But then you need to cherish those moments. You need to have that kind of a understanding where you know what were the circumstances then, how you have to grow ahead, and what you all can do to make life better. Ultimately, it is all summing up the entire structure of life in a way that you find fulfillment into it. So those moments, those tough days, those moments of happiness, those moments of where you feel that they have done everything for you, now it is the time for you to reflect on those moments and see what you can do best, so that they feel happy all about you, like you have grown as a great person. So those really moment, those were the times changing moment for me in my life, I feel. And they have been great, totally. Like I'll be very honest about it, because there wasn't a single thing that I couldn't get just because they weren't able to give me. They tried to give each and everything of it. So I do cherish those moments.
Mhm. So actually, you're so right. It is not always the physical comforts or your physical needs being met all the time. Even the fact that somebody is trying to meet them, that
Yeah.
itself conveys a very, very strong message, that you are loved, you are wanted, you are cherished. And these are things, which build your character. And of course, along with that, patience, resilience, and the sense of appreciation. I think all these are values which you pick up in your childhood and which you have done. All right. So, if you look back on your life, if you reflect on your life, what were some of the life lessons that you picked up from the women in your life? So, which I suppose would largely be your mother, but I'm sure there were other women also. So, were there any life lessons that you picked up from them?
Definitely, and mother has played a very big role into my life, because that she was the person who was around me for the longest period of time until I moved to the different city for my junior college, and then so on the graduation, post graduation. So I have spent considerable time with her into my family, because then like you have relatives, but it's always a kind of thing like once you are into a close circle, you have a routine. You go to school, you come back, you study, and then you go to sleep, and you repeat for those number of days. So
Mhm.
that was the kind of routine I had during that particular time. So the life lesson is always about like from my mother. It comes in a way that even if you haven't got that kind of a education, if you haven't got that kind of a best of resources, it is still possible to live a great life where you are putting in hard work, you are managing everything. And the other day I was just scrolling through social media, and I just got through that particular post where it was said like some Bollywood actor said that सुबह वो लोग उठ जाते हैं, लाइक वो एक तीन लोग होते हैं जिनको उठने में आसानी होती है। वो एक माँ है, वो एक
Mhm.
मजबूरी होती है, और वो एक मेहनत होता है कि जिसको मेहनत करनी होती है। सो
Right.
द रोल ऑफ मदर इज ऑलवेज देयर इनटू योर लाइफ। No matter what you try, no matter what you try to do in your life, there will be her contribution in every uh, corner of your life. So that is something that I'll always learn from her, because uh, there were the times where things were challenging. There were times where people were telling like, you haven't got education, why you are putting your children into a English medium school. That was the kind of statements were being made. But she made sure that she don't have to pay attention to those statements. It's just about like what kind of environment we are creating for these people or the children, what kind of education, what kind of good habits or the character that we are trying to build. Because it's all about the inner circle that you try to have. And once you know these people are good, once you know that you are around these people, they get a sense of fulfillment that you'll be trying to do something great in your life. And we always paid attention to whatever the habits were inculcated in our lives, because that is how we build our character, that is how we build ourselves. And like as a child, it's always kind of like you may be having a different mood today, and then the other day you'll be a different kind of a person. So that personality shift still happens, but then you are aware of your circumstances. You're aware of like what kind of uh, what kind of upbringing that you are looking forward, that they have tried to inculcate in your life. So that is something that I always try to remember, because then they have taken a lot of efforts, and we can't let those efforts go wasted. So that is something that always runs into my head. And then as when I moved back to like a different city for my junior college days, there were like I started associating with a lot of women, the female friends, I would say, because during my school days, I never had some kind of like female friends into my life whom I could share a lot of things with me. So then I had those friends into my office journey as well. We have a group of few people. So there was always a learning lesson from each and every person, and few of them were like, you just have to speak your word. If you're upfront about all those particular thing, you'll be getting something in return. So always try to make that point ahead in your life whenever you are trying to interact with the people. So these are the few lessons I feel that have shaped my personality, have shaped my thought process as well. Because unless and until you don't take an effort, things are not going to change. Things are not going to be in your favor. And again, it's all matter of perspectives, because each and every person is going to look in a very different fashion in what you are trying to say, what are your conditions, and in what way you are trying to fulfill your own dreams as well. So if you make a point where the message is conveyed better in a very better fashion, if you're trying to make your point which is very clear, then that is something that you have to understand, that will bring results in your life. And I have got most of the results through that kind of a personality, which I learned from the people around me or the women around me, who always tried to let me know, like, and they were very really clear about the kind of message that I have to give. They always guided me like, this is the to the point thing that you have to try to say to the people. And that shaped my personality, that shaped my thought process, the way I look forward in making decisions as well. So these are the lessons that I take from those women around me.
See, I feel lessons are all around us. Everybody in our life is trying to tell us something, teach us something. It depends on how receptive and how open we are.
Yeah.
If you're flexible in your mindset and if you try and see that, okay, this is a lesson that I can pick up from this experience, then only that lesson or that person can teach you something.
True, true. That is true. And again, uh, one point I would like to make it here is that lessons are up to us. Like what kind of outcome we are going to get, we never know.
Yeah.
It's the process that we'll be taking that decision. We never know, will it be in our favor or against us. So ultimately, it's making our point that I feel this way. There might be another way to it, and you are free to choose that as well. So that is how we make progress.
True. So you were talking about perspectives, points of view, and everybody comes with a different perspective and point of view. So this brings me to my next question, which is that has there ever been an occasion when a woman's perspective completely changed your outlook on something?
Well, there have been many instances. There's one friend of mine whom I have a very large respect into my life, because, as I said, like I met her in my office journey. She was a former colleague, I would say. And earlier, I wasn't in like we were in on a great terms with respect to the kind of uh, work that we were doing, or the ability of completing that particular work. But then it's all about like what kind of points she was trying to make ahead, what kind of decisions she were trying to take, why those decisions were going into her favor. And there were many instances. So then I did take a pause. I did try to see like where I'm lacking, why I'm not able to get along with this kind of a person, and what better opportunities I can get, or what better things I can get to learn from her. And that is how I started learning from that. I would like to mention her name as well, like she is Sai. So that is something that I started learning from her, because the moment she used to, and she was very upfront about her decisions, upfront about the way she wanted to try to make her point as well. Because you know that when we are into a corporate sector, or when we are working, we have to make our point clear. We have to be like my stand is quite clear. This is how I'm going to function. If I'm able to complete that work, if I'm able to get results in my favor, then it is going to benefit like me or like anyone around her. So
Mm.
that is something that I learned from her. Like whenever you want to say something, you have to be very clear about it. Whenever you have to get your done work, whenever you have to convey something to someone, you just have to be that particular first person. You don't have to play on back foot. You just have to be very clear about your thought process. You have to see what kind of results or effects that you're going to have in that particular thing. And once you're clear about all those elements, I feel that a lot of decision making process becomes easier. We get results in our favor as well. We get to know person as well. We start creating a bond as well.
Mm.
And it's just all about acknowledging that person. No one is bad, no one is like pathetic. It's all about the perspective, it's all about the fashion that they try to work in, and maybe the matter of fact, like the position they are into. So at times, if you're conveying that particular message to boss, they might be reacting in a very different way. And at the same time, if you're conveying it to your manager or your coworker, then the reaction would be different.
Right.
So the point of discussion here is that once you are stating your message, once you are trying to make your point, I feel that whatever decisions you take, whatever kind of things you want to attract in your life, you just have to be very clear about it, because ultimately you don't want to end up wasting your time in thinking.
Yeah.
You will love to act on all those elements that is more beneficial. So that is the one lesson, that try to take actions and not think more about it, because once you know the actions, once you know the process, then the kind of results that you are expecting, they will be all around you, whether be it good or bad. You just always learn from them. So make sure that you are clear about it. So that is something that I learned from her.
Yeah. So being clear in communicating, because I think
Yeah.
that is so essential. Because I think somewhere many of us, get lost, or the message that we wish to convey gets lost because we are not very clear. And sometimes we take a lot of time, in thinking that whether we should communicate or not. So action is also something which is equally critical, and which is what you
Yeah.
picked up from her.
Always happens with me. I will end up my time in thinking, should I be taking this decision, should I be going with this flow? But
Mm.
then again, I have thought like it's more better than doing than waiting for someone else's approval.
Correct, correct. So, Rohit, we are living in a world where we are surrounded by different kinds of stereotypes, ways of thinking and norms, beliefs, and all of that. And some of the stereotypes, especially those surrounding women, are quite absurd at times, They are misconceptions. So, if you were to look around you, what is the most absurd misconception about women that you have encountered, and how did you debunk it?
It's a great question, and through my podcast, I always try to bring these kind of topics where I feel that stereotypes should be busted, stereotypes should be removed from the society,
Mm.
because all the time we are surrounded by the kind of people who will always try to bring you down, who will always try to have a different point of view or the opinions or advices.
Yeah.
I'm fine with it, but
Mm,
are they really true? Do you have something factually to state about it?
mm, mm,
So there is a lot to talk about it. One of the misconception, one of the kind of a, and it goes around like wherever you are raised, wherever the kind of culture you are having, it always plays an important role to create those kind of stereotypes. So the biggest stereotype, the biggest misconception I always feel is that during this menstruation thing about the women, women are made to like sit separately, aren't allowed to go to temples and all this particular thing.
mm.
So that I still feel about is a kind of a thing that should be eradicated, that should be no more be having place into our society. It's still prevalent. I'm sure that a lot has been talked about, a lot of changes have been done. We people like us who are educated, who are having some kind of a background into it, in terms of like how we can make people understand, will always try to make a point. But there are people who always feel that no, this is not backed by the science but backed by the society, and society always plays a larger role into shaping the rules and norms. And that is totally kind of a like pathetic approach, I would say. I feel appalled by these facts. So one thing is that I want to talk more about. I want to eradicate that particular thing. I want to uh, clear the misconception around it, because everyone has got the equal right. So is
Yes.
it something that we don't eat food prepared by that particular woman in that particular time? What
Hmm.
about the goddesses? Like during that particular phase, are those temples closed?
Right.
So, are we asking these questions to ourselves or to the society? No, we don't have time to ask those, because we have a set mindset.
Yeah.
And if you are going to have a set mindset, we are not going to bring in those changes. The other thing is that now it's not working anymore, but still, at some places, women should not be working, or women should not be having a higher pay scale. That would be a very that relationship would not go well along if a woman is earning more than a man.
Hmm.
So that is something that we have to feel that there is a misconception around it. Love doesn't watch for money. uh, your true care doesn't reflect from money. It's all about your emotions, your behavior, your character, that shapes the two relations. So if you're open about the communications, if you're open about your expectations, and if you feel that a lot of can be changed into this area, I feel that each and every person will be having equal opportunity to work. And it is all about the skills. If
Right.
you are well educated, if you have a better approach, you are bound to earn more. It's just that a person is not taking enough efforts to stay updated into the society or into the work culture. So professionalism and the people's approach to it should change, is what I feel. And women have faced a lot of aggression with respect to all of this. Even if we check the data, we don't have more women into leadership position. We have been defining jobs just through the gender stereotype. So that is not true anymore. We have to change that perception. I feel that women are better in designing or creating a culture where the inclusive approach is well appreciated at each and every level. So it's all about that. So it's into the mindset, it's into the kind of way we are going to behave, the kind of changes that we have to take into consideration. We need to change those policies, and policies should not be on paper. It should be in uh, it should be into the action mode. You
Yeah.
don't need a policy to take action, you just need willingness. So if that willingness is created by each and every person, I feel that the change will be evident into the society.
So, more conversations, more awareness, more education, all of these things are going to make a difference.
Yeah.
So, Rohit, it's been observed everywhere that, whenever a woman is in some kind of a difficult spot, I am in some difficulty, maybe I've messed up something, or there is some situation that I can't handle, and I approach a man. So, most of the times, what is observed is that men have two ways of looking at this. Either they feel that I have to jump in and save her because I am the knight in shining armor and she needs all the help that I can give. Or the other thing is that they try to berate the woman and make her feel, in a very patronizing way that, okay, I will do it for you, but you deserve whatever you are getting. So, what is your approach? Or is it none of these?
I would say that I will always give an opportunity to that particular person, and you can always learn more by observing.
Hmm.
So there is this skill that you have to uh, you need to have in your life. The more you observe, the better you uh, get at like how you are going to approach to that particular situation. You need to be observant just to understand their feelings, their emotions, and you not need to get into every situation. Let them handle the situation. It's not just about whatever steps, whatever decisions they have taken, it is result of it, but it's all about the circumstances. It demands at that particular time. You, if you have to take that decision, you need to take that decision. It's fine if you're going to repent, if you're going to rejoice about that decision, that is going to come later in your life. But what matters is that what it is teaching you at that moment. And if you give an opportunity, if you see, ultimately it's not about like whom you are going to prove. If a
Hmm.
woman is earning, if a woman is going on a job, or like whatever they are trying to do into their lives, it's
Yeah.
all about her choice. And
Right.
her choice isn't restricted by a family or the society or whoever around her. It's
Hmm.
all about her. If she's able to give utmost contribution to the family, the professional life of her, and everything that she is willing to upskill in her life, it's
Yeah.
all her decision. So you just don't have to mend into her own ways.
Hmm.
But it's usually happen that you have to manage each and everything. You
Mm,
are a woman, you know, like what multiple tasks you have to manage in a day,
mm, mm,
but you have honed that ability, you know, like what challenging circumstances you were into and how you taken those steps when we had that conversation. So it's all about, like, if you want to make that change happen, you need to be in a position where you have to handle it by yourselves. There's always be going to be a guidance in your life.
mm,
It is
mm,
not that people will won't support you, but the people who know, like, you are taking efforts, you are trying to bring in some kind of change, will always offer a help. But no one is like made feel that there is no support around you. So ultimately, if you are doing something positive, if you are contributing to someone's growth, or for that matter yourself as well, then things are going to change for you. So
mm,
you don't need someone's acknowledgement that you have done a great job, or you need to be repaying for your own decisions.
mm,
So
mm,
it's all about that particular fact. And you need to think from an individual perspective. You always don't have to care about the people around you, the family members and all, because ultimately it's your life. If you
right.
feel that this is the way you have to live, that is the way you have to go ahead about it. Because if I always try to mix up, like, ये करने से मेरे लाइफ में नहीं होगा, मेरे पेरेंट्स को अच्छा नहीं लगेगा, या फिर मेरी लाइफ का एंजॉयमेंट का फन कहाँ है फिर? If
Mm,
I'm always going to make decision based on what other people are thinking about me,
mm,
or what those decisions are going to shape my future, then I'm just going to like give up on the idea of living my life in present moment. So it's all about that. Acknowledge your present moment, acknowledge that you are taking those decisions for yourself, and that is going to bring change in your life. Because there are multiple roles that you're going to face, there are multiple moments that you have to face in daily lives. So it's all about your approach towards that. And that is the reason I feel that I won't be a person who will always be going against it. Never ever. I'll
mm.
always be the person wherever I feel that I should be supporting, then I'll be doing that.
Yes. So I think you very rightly said that observe, understand, and then try to figure out what is it that is needed, if at all it is needed. Sometimes, like as a woman, I can tell you that sometimes when I'm saying something, I am not looking for a solution or an answer. I'm just sharing with you, I'm just venting it out. Sometimes you need
Yeah.
to clarity कि समझ में नहीं आ रहा कि ये क्या हुआ, तो when you speak about it you feel कि थोड़ा सा perspective में आ जाएगा. So I am not looking for a solution, so don't give it to me. So yeah, that a man I think needs to understand before they kind of jump in. All right.
Right.
So, now going off tangent a bit. So now many of us, you and I included, have decided to take a shift in our careers, which I like to call midlife rebooting, where we have taken on other careers and other things, after having worked in a particular field for some years. So while I continue to do what I was doing earlier, which is teaching, but I've also taken on many other things. So, why do you think we are seeing so much of this happening around us? I mean, are we trying to say that our parents did not have hobbies or they did not have passions? Why is it that so many people are now following this, what as I said, call midlife rebooting?
Interesting question. The other day, I was having this conversation with my mother, and I asked her a very simple question.
Mm,
I would like to state in a Hindi itself
yeah,
कि मम्मी, तुम्हारे ज़माने में तुम सारी चीज़ें कर लेते थे, बट
yeah.
आज के जनरेशन में ये पॉसिबल क्यों नहीं हो रहा है? हम एक चीज़ पूरी करने में भी कम पड़ जाते हैं.
Mm,
So this is very interesting because in her earlier life she was doing a lot of things. She had multiple passions, hobbies as well. But as the life moved on, maybe you don't have enough energy to pursue it once you have done a lot of it,
yeah,
because then आपको वो फीलिंग आ जाती है, बस कर लिया अभी लाइफ में, अभी ज़रूरत नहीं है. बट
right.
स्टिल यू आर कंटेंट अबाउट इट. हाँ, वो भी एक चीज़ ज़रूरी है. But these days, it's more about, like, I feel that we have got resources. When I was growing up, there weren't resources around me.
Mm,
So it was just TV, the video games, and all that particular stuff. But we weren't addicted to it. And
yeah,
now, if you see, we are addicted to phones, we are addicted to social media, and a lot of stuff. So it's just that if we see someone doing something, we feel that we will be very comfortable in doing that particular thing.
right.
Just because he or she has done that particular thing, I'll be able to do that, or I'll be able to pull it off. But we always underestimate the effort that goes behind the scenes.
Mm, mm, mm.
So it's all about the flashy stories, it's all about the filters that you see, but no one is bothering to care about, like, hey Sangeeta, hey Rohit, how much time it goes in creating something like this that you are doing?
Mm.
Do you come across such questions? Rarely. So
There.
so you also like you try to do kind of a fashion blogging thing as well, like you love to adore saris. So it does take an effort to be into that position. It does take an effort to get ready and do all that stuff. So we just have to make sure that whatever we are doing in our life, it's just because the career moves are happening. The world is fastly changing. We have new things to see, and we are just consuming that dopamine of information. We aren't paying attention on like how we are digesting that particular news. If you try to read a tweet, if you try to watch that photo or video, for that matter, you just start thinking into or getting into that shoe. Oh, I'll be doing this. Oh, I'll be pursuing this. But we pay very less attention to what is the processor like, and that is the reason we are seeing a lot of change into the careers, because whatever decisions that we are making, those are not conscious on many levels.
Okay.
It's just that you have been pulled into that particular category. It's fine to change the careers, it's fine to change what you love to do, but are you really going to stick to it? And that is the word about it, like the passion, it may change, it may be a kind of a like pitfall for you as well. So passion at times feel like, oh, very glorified word, but then how much time, how much curiosity you are going to have into it to pursue it for a longer period of time. So that is something that goes behind. And with the changing trends, I feel that the data that we get, the kind of industry shift that is happening, a lot is changing into that particular domain as well. And that is how the resultant career moves are happening. And if you feel good about that particular decision, if it is going to change your way of living life, if you are going to make yourself financially stable through it, there's no harm in changing that, because you always have to adapt whatever is new, whatever is trending in terms of like the ability of it to continue for a longer period of time. It's not that you have taken a decision for that 1 year and now the next year you are going to do something different. No, that is not how you create your personality. You should be known for something that sticks to your personality as well, that sticks to your way of like consuming wisdom as well. Because ultimately, the way you are trying to do through the spoken words, through photographs, or through something, people are going to learn from it. So it's actively and passively people are looking at you, people are consuming wisdom out of you, the knowledge out of you. They are looking at your body language as well. So all in all, it reflects into whatever career decisions that you are taking, whatever industry are you are into. So that is going to play a large role into your life. And that is the reason I feel that career moves are happening way faster than they were earlier, because the shifts into the society in terms of mindset, in terms of the financial literacy that is happening,
Right.
that is a great move, I would say. And that is the reason it is bringing in the change into the lives of the people.
But you're right. While with all this awareness and exposure, we get to know about different things to do, but we also have to think about it in a way that will we be able to pursue it? Do we understand what really goes behind it? We should not just get taken in by the the like the glory or what we see. Like you say, there are so many filters out there, and just don't get the glamour of it. Should not get to you. That should not be the reason. You should actually understand what goes into doing what people are doing. That is so so important. Yeah.
Very true.
So Rohit, you see all kinds of women around you, and succeeding in different spheres of life, different areas, all of that. So if you could swap roles with a woman for a day, who would it be and why, if at all you want to?
A very difficult question to answer. But then again, I feel that the person who has been for the longest period of time with me, my mother, I would say, because she has done a lot for me and the entire family, I would say. And
Hmm,
that is the role I would love to swap. And maybe this answer would be as cliche as it sounds, but
that's
then it's all about the role she has played into our lives. It's all about the sacrifices she has made into making our lives better.
yeah.
Because once you don't get something in your own life, you feel that someone else should be having it, and if it
Yes.
is your own family member, that makes it very special. So the contribution that they have made, like for that particular matter, the parents or the women, my mother,
Mm.
I'm really proud of that particular fact, that I'm really fortunate of giving me the life that I'm trying to live right now,
Right.
and better things are awaiting in my life just because of their contribution. So that is the role I would love to swap, because the multitasking, the pressure, all that particular thing of like doing better,
Mm.
having that life where situations were very difficult, situations were improving, situations were great, and it's a roller coaster ride. You're on
Right.
the top of it, and then you come back down, and then again the whirlwind of those emotions, the thoughts, and the steps that you take to improve your life.
Yeah.
She has seen uh, a lot of it, and that is the reason I feel that I should be in her position to try to see how it feels, try to see how we can do into that particular role. And I'm
Yeah.
sure that I'll give up. Maybe.
But worth a try. You do want to,
Yeah,
you know what
definitely.
it feels like to be in her shoes.
Right. And maybe I'm allowed to do so, because then she won't she won't like that if someone is not playing that role on the finest level, she won't allow someone to play that role. But then
Yeah, yeah.
that is something that we have to learn from it.
Okay. So you just mentioned women and their multitasking abilities. Now, while I do not want to talk about whether it is good or bad or whatever it is, because I don't think that a lot of times we have the choice, we have to multitask many times. Okay. So, when we talk about their multitasking abilities, and you again observe around you, what is the most impressive display of multitasking by a woman that you have observed? And of course, obviously, a woman in your life.
So, women around me have done a lot of things, to be very honest.
Hmm.
So, if a person, like I have seen both the ends, a homemaker trying to do something really great for her home, because that is something was onto their goal list or the wish list, that they have to run their house, they have to run to the best of the ability
Yeah.
and very efficiently. So that
Hmm.
is something that they have always been trying to do. Then there have been instances where women, like when they weren't having resources, they try to do something on a very different note, and that is I love about them. Then, as I said earlier, like when I got associated with a lot of women,
Hmm.
then their ability to perceive each and everything, they were into this working culture, then they are now homemakers as well, and having the job as well, they are trying to balance each and everything.
Hmm.
A few of the women in my circle, or like the relatives, I would say, have been through very harsh realities of life. They
Hmm.
have seen separation into their own lives, but as a single mother, then got remarried, a few of them. So there have been such moments which where I have seen that all what you have to see is uh, how positive they stick into their own lives. My
Right.
aunt is a cancer survivor, so the willpower of her I always admire, because my mother hasn't got that kind of a willpower, or the women around me, but she is the person to look after. So that
Hmm.
is something that I always try to learn, that no matter what the situations are, it may be good, it may be difficult, but it's your ability to try to make a positive change in your life, and you are the narrator of your own story. So you
Yeah.
just have to write a better one, and what kind of efforts, what kind of situations you are facing for it will again define the course of action.
Yeah.
So those were the people who have taken a lot of efforts, and it's all about the circumstances that shapes your life. uh,
Hmm.
we here are talking about their contribution, but I don't know like what it feels to be in those moments. They
Yeah.
know like what kind of emotions they have, what kind of heavy heart they carry, what kind of thought process they are having while facing all these situations, because it's very obvious to be very clear about your thoughts when you are not dealing with anything.
Right.
But
Right.
once you are trying, once you know like what's your situation, what I'm facing, what's the way ahead in my life, then you'll be having very mixed feelings. You never know like, is this the positive approach, what is the kind of self talk that you are having with yourself. So all in all, I have seen very different kind of women into my lives, where uh, they have been the kind of they have been running their house in a very top position, I would say, where whatever it required were given the ability to have that free hand with respect to shaping that particular momentum of that particular home. So it has been a mixed bag for me, and there's always a lot to learn from what kind of characteristics that they develop, and I have been trying to learn all of them.
Okay, okay. Yeah, it actually is not easy to juggle so many different balls and, very likely to drop a few balls here and there, but I guess that's okay. Okay. So, Rohit, again, looking around, reflecting, can you share a funny anecdote when a woman in your life totally outsmarted
Maybe
you?
I need to think about this. Has it ever happened? But once when I was working into my corporate life with
Mhm.
respect to the job that I was having,
Yeah.
uh, I came into that particular office through a reference,
Hmm.
and that particular boss always had this kind of a notion that am I the right fit for this role, or am I the right fit for this particular organization.
Mm.
So one fine day, she like that particular boss made a statement to one of my colleague,
Mm.
from whose reference I got into that particular thing, and the point she made to him was kind of a very distinguished one. And she said, like, he's my friend and that is the reason he's out here, and I'm
Huh.
very talented, so that is the reason he's out here. Like, she is talented and she has got a great circle of people around her, so
Huh.
she's not going to fail at that particular like choosing me for this particular organization.
Okay.
And she was very upfront about that particular incident and made that particular statement right in front of him. And I
Huh.
was sitting out there. I didn't made any statement just because I never wanted to get into a kind of a, like, कहते हैं ना कि बॉस के साथ बहस वाला situation.
Right. Right. Right.
So uh, I couldn't have gathered that kind of a strength of stating something like that, because you never know, like, that is how corporate thing works. People are always making statement, and if you have got the ability to say those in front of a few people, I
Mm.
feel that women always have the upper hand, not in terms of like whatever they say get accepted, or like people are not very harsh with them, but
Mm.
it's all about the way they say, the kind of thought process they have while saying that. It's
Mm.
always very fascinating because it's in a very creative way, it's in a very unique fashion that they try to make their point, and we
Okay.
feel that we should be acknowledging that thing. So that was something that I can remember.
Okay.
Maybe not that great extent, but yeah, that is one thing that I can remember.
Mm. Okay. So, another thing, we've seen now as we've been talking about it, that, in terms of exposure, awareness about, gender and diversity, we are making great strides and a lot of achievements, and people are realizing this is required. And so women are, making contributions in different areas, be it homes, which they've always been doing, and in the, work area as well. But despite that, there are some aspects of women's achievements or their what they're doing that goes unappreciated, or sometimes even not even acknowledged. So what do you think, according to you, is the most unappreciated aspect of their achievements in society today?
So one thing is that whatever they try to do should not be going under the blanket, like where their efforts aren't appreciated. Everything that they do should be appreciated. And we are just wired in a way where we feel that women is lesser than the men.
Mm-hmm.
So that is something that the common notion should be scrapped, because ultimately we all are humans.
Right.
And again, we are not trying to compete, we are not trying to compete with terms of like the IQ level, the EQ level, or the financial levels of each and every person. It's
Mm-hmm.
all about that. So it's matter of fact that the moment we try to shape our opinions, we will be in a better position to appreciate each and every contribution of them. But what I feel is that whatever contribution that they are making into house, whatever contribution they are making into the corporate thing, it's always about the acknowledgement that they should be getting, and that goes unappreciated, because there's always a judge, and it's always a man that goes through that kind of a, like, your result, a women's result come from the acknowledgement of a person who is a male.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
that shouldn't be the case, is what I feel, because the more and more inclusive society that we are trying to make, it's all about the inclusive approach that we must be following. And it's just not matter of stating these particular thing, but the real change can happen through conversations. And if we are really upfront about those conversation, how we can balance our lives, how we can balance our relationships,
Hmm.
each and every individual is going to gain the equal opportunity. So the contribution into their home, contribution into the approaches, like कभी कभी ऐसे हो जाता है कि कुछ कुछ चीज़ें हमें बताई जाती है कि लाइक यू शुड बी डूइंग दिस, इट विल बी गुड फॉर यू, बट वी
Right.
ट्राई टू मेक एन पॉइंट लाइक कोई टोक रहा है आपको, वो टोक नहीं रहा है, वो उनका एक्सपीरियंस होता है, इट्स अप टू यू, इट्स फाइन इफ़ यू आर नॉट गोइंग टू अप्लाई दैट थिंग। और वो कहते हैं ना कि किसी ने ज़्यादा ज़िंदगी जी ली है तो उनको पता रहता है कि सिचुएशंस क्या है।
Hmm.
सो all of those efforts comes from that particular place where you feel that you're doing better, where you feel that you're incomplete at some stages of life, but
Hmm.
it still can be a good way of like that gesture, that contribution, that feeling of like being complete about all those elements will bring in the change. And there are various elements of like contribution हर किसी का होता है,
Right.
be it financial हो, be it इमोशनल लेवल पे किसी का एक गाइडेंस हो जाता है, एक कोई पर्सन है, माँ अच्छे से समझती है इमोशंस क्या होता है।
Hmm.
बट देन हर चीज़ में दखल अंदाजी भी ज़रूरी नहीं होती है, इट्स ऑल अबाउट गिविंग दैट सेफ स्पेस टू ईच एंड एवरी इंडिविजुअल।
Hmm.
बट देन दोज कन्वर्सेशंस कैन मेक थिंग्स वेरी good, is what I feel. And again, to pinpoint each and every aspect is quite impossible, but then whatever contribution she is making in our lives in all the ways should be appreciated, because that is how we go, that is how we feel that our goals are different, their goals are different, but then as a family we are united, and all those efforts will be mattering a lot in near future of time.
Right. Right. Great. Okay. So, you see, we all nowadays, read these quotes and words said by sometimes influential people, sometimes people next door, but sometimes, there is something which strikes a chord, something which we feel, acha, ye bilkul theek bola. It kind of resonates with us at many, many levels. So, have you ever come across any empowering quote from a woman which felt like this to you? And did it inspire you in any way?
Well, there's this one quote, like it's quite old. It's quite it's by the person Maya Angelou, where I feel that it's very common. I feel, and it goes into our each and every person's lives. And she says that uh, I feel that people will not remember what you said, but people will always remember how you made them feel. So people will never ever forget how you make them feel. And I have been the kind of a person who always try to make everyone feel good around me.
Mm.
I'm a kind of a person who won't be venturing into the territories if not asked, if not
Right.
required.
Mm.
So I love to be that kind of a person, and that is the reason I feel that each and every person tries to make us feel the better we are. It's all for our betterment. No one
Right.
is trying to pull you down. No one is trying to cut down your thought process or cut down your efforts, but it's all about like how you're going to make them feel. And all the people around me try to always make me feel acknowledged, make me feel comfortable in their own circle, in my own ways. And
Yeah.
that is the best part I love about all the people who have been associated with through these conversations as well. Like podcasting has been a great journey for me.
Mm.
I often love to have women as guests on my show. So
I know
that
that.
is my part of like women empowerment, because there are unheard stories, there are unheard voices. They are always looking out for the platform. And if you acknowledge them, if you make them heard, then they get in a position where they feel that they have expressed something that will help another women as well, another men as well. Like, so
Mm.
that is the process that we all go through. And it's never a matter of men or women, it's always a matter of we as a human being, we as a people, we as a individual person. So if we just take off those glasses of like classifying the genders, just because of their roles into our societies. Everyone is going to be complete person, and
Mm,
we are all are trying to fill in our own shoes as well, because you try to grow, you try to come into a position where you feel that, oh, life is going to get better,
mm,
and I'm taking all efforts into that direction, and
mm,
everyone has contributed in my life. There have been, I know, like there have been sore instances in people's lives as well. That
mm,
is totally fine, but that doesn't define you. That is a learning lesson. There's always a lot to learn from. Like, now you may have seen that relationships get very sore these days, just through the casual matters.
mm,
But if we pay a lot of attention, it may be our character, it may be our own thoughts as well, it may be our own decisions as well.
mm.
So it's all about like how you're making yourself feel will always reflect on other person as well.
True.
So you just get into a shoe where you feel that you are quite observant, you are learning about the situations around you, and life is going to get better all around you. So
Right.
it is the opportunity for you to seek growth.
Absolutely. And so important, like it's a very powerful quote. It's not what you say, it's how you say, how you make that other person feel, because that is something which is going to stay with them. They're never going to forget.
Right.
All right.
Right.
So, Rohit, while we've come to the end of the conversation, we still have the rapid fire round to go through, which is 5 quick questions, 5 quick answers. So, are you
Sure.
ready?
Yes, absolutely. Let's go
All
ahead.
right. So, here we go, the rapid fire round. Question number one: describe woman empowerment in one word.
Freedom.
All right. Okay, now we move to a slightly different one. What is the first thing you do when you get a break from work?
Well, I love to podcast.
All right. I should have known that. All right. The next one. If you could have a meal with one inspiring woman, living or from the past, who would it be?
Well, it could be Michelle Obama.
All right. Okay. Now we move to another simple, easy one. Your favorite TV show or podcast or book. Any one of them.
TV show, I would go back in my era, and it could be like Hum Paanch.
All right. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I remember that
Tarak
one.
Mehta is also a good one, but not following these days.
Okay. All right. And now the last question. Name one thing you think women do better than men.
It's how they incorporate kindness in their lives. That
Hmm?
is something that I have to see, because if kindness would be currency one day, women will be having a lot of it. So
Right.
kindness is something that they are better at.
Okay,
They are
great.
very kind.
Thank you. So, I mean, I'm taking this opportunity to thank
Yes, it's for you as well.
So with this, we come to the end of this very, very fascinating conversation. And it is, so refreshing to hear men talk about these things because, we also, if men are, how should I say, the victims of the societal norms and beliefs. Women are like I said, men are also in the same boat. So in fact, what I'm trying to say is that both of us are sailing in the same boat as far as these norms and beliefs go, but it is also always welcome to listen to what the other gender has to say about certain things. So, an extremely fascinating conversation, and thank you so much for being on the show. It was an extreme pleasure to have you.
Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. And to say something at the end, I feel that life is quite easy. We just make it complex. We just don't have to look at data. We don't have to look at insights or something that someone might be saying that is going in a very one-way fashion. It's all about like live in your own way. That is something that you can always try to do, and you'll be at peace.
So well said, because I also read it somewhere that, there is always a simpler way to do something. Why is it that we always choose the complicated one? And what is it that we are trying to do? So I guess we need to learn that. So,
Right.
again, thank you. Thank you for tuning in to the About Her show. If you enjoyed this episode, there's plenty more from where that came from. Our previous guests have shared some amazing stories, so be sure to catch up on past episodes. To keep up with our inspiring conversations and to never miss an update, hit subscribe, rate, review, and share the love. Follow us on social media for some great content, and don't forget to check out our website www.aboutherbysangeeta.com for stories that resonate, inspire, and empower. Know a remarkable woman or an inspiring man blazing a trail? We'd love to hear from you. Drop us a note at web.abouther@gmail.com and let's bring their story to life on the About Her Show.